the benchmark might be like 5 to 10% of your revenue coming through these marketplaces in the first, year, and then maybe it grows. And that's going to vary depending on not just the maturity, but do you have the executive buy-in where people want to actually push things like upsells, renewals through these marketplaces, or even enable the sales teams, which some organizations don't want to distract the sales teams by having them learn a new go-to-market to some extent.
Yeah, it sounds that was gonna be my next question is what are the pushbacks that maybe the champion for listing on the marketplace faces when they try to sell the idea? And you mentioned one of them, which is enablement of sales, but are there any others or kind of challenges they face in trying to sell this internally? If it does, maybe it does make sense to you and them, but challenges they run to trying to sell to the organization and how to overcome it maybe.
Every founder, every like executive team wants incremental revenue. They don't, of course, the benefit of, oh, you can shorten your sales cycles or, yada, yada, yada might be really beneficial, but nothing can quite drive an initiative by like saying, hey, we can drive incremental revenue. It's a revenue channel, right? And so that's where it's not as much of a pushback, but more of a, hey, this is a long game. You can't expect the floodgates to open in year one, but as you start to transact more, and that's the co-sell flywheel that everyone talks about, right? You transact on marketplace, you show the cloud providers that this is the way that you're going to run a lot of your go-to-market motions. You share the opportunities, talk about the better together stories, and then they start referring you, net new business, which is how you get the incremental revenue. But that's not going to happen in year one, and so, or it's going to happen very spottedly, and so that's where there is pushback, long story short, but it's about setting the right expectations.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And one of the metrics we talk quite a bit about with customers to kind of ease that reality check of, hey, this will initially be a little bit of um, doing your first few deals with probably known customers and like moving this effectively just through a distribution channel. Um, and then the immediate question is like, well, that doesn't really help me with a quarter over quarter return on this effort. Um, so what we dial in on, which repeatedly has proved out, is the compression or the shortening of the sales cycle, where it's like, hey, even if you're not getting incremental revenue, statistically, this is going to speed up your sales cycle by 30 or 40%. And we've seen that with our customers. We've tested that on ourselves. And to me, it's like, that's your day one value is this will speed up your ability to do business. And until you kind of prove it out to yourselves and to the cloud providers and the cloud field sales teams, it's like, you might not get that first net new deal brought to you. But there is a sense of like, hey, you have to prime the pump a little bit and just get your first 5 transactions done.